Every single Wednesday is new comic book day. You guys see the stack. We got a nice big stack today. And of course, it's new comic book day for November 26th, dude, the day before Thanksgiving. Hope you guys have a nice holiday. Those that celebrate it. We're going to go over my comic book haul, and then the rest of the topics include me going over some things I'm thankful for in terms of comic books this year. And then we talk about the Deadpool and Batman crossovers. We kind of compare and contrast them. Did the experiment work? Do we want to see more crossovers in the future? But enough of that, dude. Those are the other topics, but let's get into the comic book haul, dude. So the pick of the week this week, it's got to be Absolute Wonder Woman. Absolute Wonder Woman number 14. Really excited about this. Kelly Thompson. It looks like the guest artist is still here, Bagara. I'm sure I'm butchering that, but really excited about it. Absolute Wonder Woman issue number 14. We got Absolute Batman number 14. Double Absolute days and two of the better ones out of the whole Absolute line. So really excited about that. Looks like we finally get a showdown between Killer Croc, Batman, and Bane. Hopefully that goes Batman's way. But let's talk about Batman Green Arrow, The Question, Arcadia. Been greatly anticipating this one. I'm a big fan of DC Black Label, and all of these heroes crossing over. Excited to see what Gabriel Hardman brings us there. It looks like he's doing the art and the writing. DCKO issue number 2. I've been liking DCKO. Pretty good event so far. Excited to keep it going. I'm not doing like all the tie-ins, but all the tie-ins I have read have been pretty solid. And then the main title's been really good too. We also have Escape number 4, one of my favorites out of Image Comics, Rick Remender written series with excellent artwork from Daniel Acuna. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. No comic book really looking like it on stands. We have Geiger number 18, a Ghost Machine book. You guys know Geiger's my dude. I'm like 3 issues behind, but I like to binge them up and binge read Geiger. It's like my guilty pleasure reading. So Geiger number 18 there. Green Arrow number 30, real sad, dude. We got one more left before this series is over. Chris Condon written Montos with Adriano Lucas on the coloring. Really excited about this, and then see it concluding. I'm not excited, I'm sad about it. I'm excited to read it, but I'm sad to see it go. Justice League Unlimited number 13, a DCKO tie-in. It's the part 2 of the Terrific 10, a little team that Miss Terrific has put together. A team of displaced, heroes that have been time displaced. So Mr. Terrific is teaming up with them, doing some DCKO stuff. Skinbreaker number 3, I've been really liking this series. Excellent artwork from David Finch. Issue number 2 stepped it up a lot. I really like that time jump. That was pretty cool, and excited to keep it going with Skinbreaker number 3. Superman 32, it's a DCKO tie-in. I like the last DCKO tie-in for this series. It's kind of like Superman preparing for DCKO, the tournament. Excited to see what is going on in this one. Now that we know that Superman is in the tournament, looks like he's dealing with Lex Luthor in this one. We'll have to see. So yeah, DCKO tie-in there. And then finally, the conclusion to The Invisible Man, issue number 4. Wow, issue number 3, crazy, crazy twist. Did not see it going that way at all. Excited to see it conclude. Man, Universal Monsters has been killing it. And Invisible Man, at this point, is probably the second best out of the Universal Monsters bunch. I'd have to think about it, but it probably goes Frankenstein and then Invisible Man, quite possibly. But that's what we got for New Comic Book Day, November 26th. Almost forgot the date. But yeah, that's what we got for New Comic Book Day. Of course, my pick of the week got to be Absolute Wonder Woman. Let me know what your pick of the week is. And of course, let me know what you guys are picking up. Be sure to stay tuned for the rest of the video. The topics, like I was saying, include me talking about what I'm thankful for in terms of comic books this year, and then going over the DC and Marvel crossover, Batman, Deadpool. Did it work? Comparing both issues and talking about the future of them. But yeah, that's what we got. In the US, we celebrate Thanksgiving. The day that I'm posting this video, it will be Thanksgiving. So I thought it might be a good idea to go through some of the comic book stuff that I'm thankful for this year, especially, dude. Let's start off with, gotta start off with Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips. Listen, every chance I get to talk about some of my favorite comic book creators in the game, I gotta take it. So Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, such a great comic book duo, and they've been working, they've been grinding, never stopping to put out some great stuff. So this year they put out a ton of good stuff, including stuff like this, man. Their return to Criminal. They've released the Knives this year. And then this year they also have a Christmas special coming out, a little one shot. And then next year they have an all new Criminal hardcover. So yeah, shout out to Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. These guys grind like no other. and we're all the better for it, dude. Putting out some really great comic books. Next, thankful for, in terms of comic books this year especially, I'm thankful for Image hardcover deluxe editions. Gotta be my favorite comic book format in the game. As you guys can see, I got a nice little collection here throughout some of my other creator cubes here. Got some Image hardcover deluxe editions, like a lot of Jeff Lemire ones up there. In fact, I just unboxed last month 3 new Image hardcover deluxe editions. So without a doubt, my favorite comic book format. For those that don't know, these are slightly oversized. So compared to like a trade paperback or compared to a single issue comic book, these deluxe editions are just slightly bigger. So you get the art and a little bit more oversized. You get to appreciate it a little bit more. So Image hardcover deluxe editions, definitely got to give a shout out. I like the kind of square bound, kind of rectangular look they have. I think they got great shelf presence. Typically they all have great spines. I'm just a real big fan of hardcovers. Image Comics puts out some of the best in the game, so got to give a shout out to Image hardcover deluxe editions. Yeah, and I guess kind of a shout out to Rick Remender. He kind of took his own format with it, kind of like an evolution of Image hardcover deluxe editions. Rick Remender's been killing it as well. So it's been real fun filling out my Rick Remender collection with his even slightly more oversized deluxe editions. Along the same lines, I mean, you got to give a shout out to DC as well for their deluxe editions. I'm just a big fan of hardcovers, man, if you guys can't tell. So that's what makes up a lot of my collection. Real big fan of these hardcovers. Got to give a shout out as well to some of the different comic book companies and different publishers that have been sending me things all year. So working with, I think Penguin's been sending me some stuff. So we have the newest Joe Hill book, big fan of Joe Hill. And then, you know, 10 Speed's been sending me some stuff. We got some stuff from Mad Cave Studios as well, some indie comic book publishers. Image Comic has been sending me some things, like the Spectator's Advanced Reader Copy, for example, right? So just very fortunate that different comic book companies are hooking me up, providing me content to show you guys, giving you guys a little bit of info on the stuff. But then, yeah, just the fact that they kind of trust me to showcase their work, that's kind of a cool place to be in as well. And DC has been sending me some stuff. Like last year, they sent me this entire line of DC Finest. This was the first wave they ever did with their big 3 superheroes and then the Flash and then a Justice League. So that was really cool, receiving some collected editions from DC themselves. Never thought I'd see the day, so that was really cool. And yeah, DC's been sending me a lot of covers as well. And for some reason, a lot of Wonder Woman stuff. So I have another Wonder Woman package coming in soon from DC that I'll be unboxing on the channel. So yeah, that's kind of a interesting place to be. DC sending me some comic books, man. Also, shout out to Shopville. They sent me a bunch of different comic books, a little Superman challenge with $100 worth of Superman variants to unbox. So that was a really fun video to put together. Shout out to Shopville and all the different companies that I've been fortunate enough to work with throughout this year. Got to give a shout out to Omar from Near Mint Condition. So if you guys don't know, I've been fortunate enough to appear on Omar's channel a number of times throughout this year, doing stuff like the Marvel solicitations, or sometimes he'll just do a live stream and just talk about some of the stuff we've been reading. So yeah, it's been a joy to get to know Omar, make some connections with him. We hung out at C2E2, me and Christian. So that was a really fun experience hanging out with Omar. Near Mint Condition, just a comic book YouTube creator that I really look up to. Kind of inspired me to start my own journey or whatever, right? So yeah, getting to know Omar Near Mint Condition has been a real joy as well. Got to give a shout out to Christian as well. So I just mentioned him, Comic Book Stash, my good buddy. We do the comic book, movie, TV show podcast called Color Break. We've been doing that for a number of years now. So shout out to Christian, always my good buddy. Like I was saying, we went to C2E2 this year. Hopefully next year we can hit up some more conventions. It's a little bit, tough nowadays, especially just being busy and stuff and the monetary situation or whatever. But hopefully we get to go to more conventions, me and Christian. I got to give a shout out to action figures as well. You guys know it's a big part of my comic book collection, my action figures as well. They're a real big part of what I like to collect. So these are just some of the action figures that I've unboxed recently, like the Doctor Doom, the classic Joker. We got the classic Scarecrow, and then just this week actually I unboxed this Riddler. So yeah, there'll be great additions to the action figure shelves. A real big part of my year, especially content creation and just what I like to collect, a lot of the action figure stuff. Got to give a shout out to DC. They've been putting out some really good stuff lately. So I think that DC is far and away, let me find some actual DC comic books to talk about. I think that DC is far and away my favorite comic book publisher right now. I was always saying that Image Comic puts out great stuff, but man, DC's been killing it with stuff like Nightwing, stuff like Batgirl, the Green Arrow series has been great. New Gods just ended, but it's been real great as well. Stuff like the Absolute Universe, of course. Gotta give a shout out to the Absolute Universe. There's New Gods here. So yeah, DC has been real killing it lately, and I just really enjoy a lot of the DC pulls every single week. It's been a joy to read and keep up with the meta narrative, DC KO, and all that stuff. It's a real exciting time to be a DC Comics fan. Also got to shout out Jeff Lemire, of course, my favorite like solo comic book writer. If these are my favorite duo, this has got to be my favorite solo creator. Stuff like Royal City that I had the pleasure to read this year. Stuff like Underwater Welded that I read earlier in the year. I read Descender, both of these deluxe editions. Gotta still read Ascender. But yeah, Jeff Lemire is just one of those creators that you know, I always love going back to and reading their older stuff. I have a lot more Jeff Lemire stuff to read. That'll be fun to go through in 2026. But yeah, definitely got to shout out Jeff Lemire. He's had a really good year. He's keeping it going. And yeah, I just really love his style. I love his style of writing and his style of art. And yeah, shout out Jeff Lemire, my favorite solo creator. Always thankful for him. With that all being said, last shout out, of course, the last thing I'm thankful for this year is you guys, the audience. So none of this is kind of possible if no one watches the videos, right? So I got to give a shout out to you guys. Making comic book videos the last year has been an absolute joy and an absolute pleasure. Hope you guys have, you know, learned something or, you know, get some sort of entertainment out of my videos. And yeah, let's keep it going. Keeping the momentum into next year, dude, as we march on towards 10,000 subscribers. I guess we got to hit 5K first, right? But 10,000 subscribers at some point, that's the ultimate goal. And yeah, just very thankful for you guys, the audience, for all the love and support. And just comic books in general, man. Gotta love them. Always thankful for comic books. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. American Puerto Rican left a comment. He says, I'm still not sure about Batman Deadpool. I thought it was fun. I thought for the variants were cool, but for the price tag, I wish I picked up 2 Image comics that were $3.99 instead. So this is a great comment. Thanks for leaving it, dude. I thought it was fascinating. Let's get into maybe comparing the Batman and Deadpool release from DC and the Deadpool Batman release from Marvel, and kind of compare and contrast. Did this experiment work? I mean, it's really cool seeing DC and Marvel crossing over, but did the experiment actually work? Let's get into it and compare the two different releases. And I'll be honest with you, let's start off with the fact that they're both kind of similarly named, all right? So I found this funny picture on the internet down in a comic book shop. Someone had a sign out and they said, hey, just so you guys know, the Batman and Deadpool release that came out last week, this is different than what came out in September, Deadpool Batman. So that must mean that there's a lot of confusion going on with people who visit comic book shops. You see Deadpool Batman on the stands. Oh, that's cool. You come back a couple months later and you see kind of the same thing. Did I already pick that up or not, right? So there must be some confusion going on. I know me, myself, a little bit confused. Just, you know, before I kind of set in stone what the plans actually were from DC and Marvel, the fact that they're like compilation issues, right? But yeah, I could see this being so confusing to a new comic book reader. You walk into the comic book store and like, really, what's the difference between these two, right? Obviously, one says Deadpool Batman, one says Batman Deadpool, but if you're not a comic book reader, like a, you know, consistent week-to-week reader, that might be really confusing, dude. So just off the bat, I think it was kind of dumb to have two crossovers that were like the same. I get what they're going for, but maybe one of them could have been, you know, Deadpool Batman, and the other one could have been like, you know, next year they're doing a Spider-Man Superman. So maybe that would have been a better idea, just to kind of differentiate the two and let new comic book readers know what the heck's going on. But let's get into the actual like meat and potatoes of this, right? So comparing the stories mostly, I thought that, in my opinion, the Batman Deadpool just release from DC was a little bit better, higher quality comic book creators that I'm more interested in working on this, as opposed to the Marvel release that we'll get into in a second. But I think that you know, the initial story, the Batman Deadpool story from Grant Morris and Dan Mora, I found myself having a lot more fun with this one than the kind of similar release that was over on the Marvel side. Just, you know, Grant Morrison has that kind of zany, wacky sort of writing style. I thought it worked really well for Deadpool. Obviously, Grant Morrison had a really long run on the Batman character, so he's no stranger to writing Bruce Wayne Batman. And of course, you get the Dan Mora artwork. So I thought that they just nailed it as far as, you know, getting these two creators together, and they put out a really good story. So Grant Morrison, Dan Mora killed it on the Batman Deadpool release. And then you get into, you know, some cool stuff with John Constantine and Doctor Strange. Artwork from Hayden Sherman, my favorite comic book artist in the game right now, possibly, with some really good writers attached too. James Tynion IV, Josh Williamson, Scott Snyder. And then you get into a really, really great Bruno Redondo and Tom Taylor Nightwing Laura Kinney story, Laura Kinney Wolverine, dealing with the kind of legacy that these two, you know, Batman and Wolverine leave behind for, you know, their kids essentially, right? So just kind of living in the shadows of, you know, the heroes' legacies kind of being the theme, and the focus on family and stuff. It's just nice to see Bruno and Tom Taylor kind of reacclimate to writing and drawing Nightwing. I thought it was really cool. So that story was great. Kind of missed me with the Harley Quinn and the Hulk story. Not my favorite in the whole bunch. Thought it was fun, but nothing crazy. The Static Shock Kamala Khan story was really good too, albeit maybe a little bit short, but it was really cool seeing these sort of legacy heroes, the younger kind of generation of heroes sort of teaming up. And yeah, that kind of ends the DC release, Batman and Deadpool. So I know that this is $8. A lot of people might see that and say, I don't think that's worth it. For me, the kind of quality of the stories and the great artists that you have attached, I thought this was a great, you know, event kind of read, right? Like it's Marvel, it's DC teaming up for the first time, and who knows how long, right? So it's really cool just seeing, you know, this on the comic book stand. You got to pick it up when it's out. And I thought that they kind of delivered this $7.99 price tag. I thought that they nailed it. But over on the Marvel side, it's a little bit of a different story. So this one was a little bit cheaper at $6.99. I'm not the biggest Zeb Wells fan. Obviously, you had the great artwork from Capullo. Never going to say no to Capullo stuff, but not the biggest Zeb Wells fan. I thought the story was, I don't know. The story was kind of whatever. Maybe it went on a little bit too long. I don't know. Something about it. But then you get into the rest of the stories. And yeah, a lot of them kind of hit or miss. Let's get all the way to the Captain America Wonder Woman story. So this was from the Dodsons and Chip Zdarsky. This story was a real highlight for me. I did a whole bunch from both the releases from DC and Marvel. I thought that this Wonder Woman Captain America story was really good. A lot of people didn't like it, but I found it kind of fascinating. Just the idea that these two heroes, you know, existing in the same universe concurrently, what would that universe kind of look like? I kind of wanted a deeper peek, maybe a little bit longer of a story and a look at this world. I thought it was really cool. The Crypto and the Jeff the Landshark story, it was cute, but like nothing really is going on, right? Like it would have been cool if they went on an adventure together, maybe to save somebody, right? But it's really just them having a goofy time playing volleyball. So not the best story there. And then a highlight for me, the Green Arrow Daredevil story from Kevin Smith and Kubert, I believe. This is just really cool. It's cool seeing Kevin Smith getting back to working with these characters and kind of seeing their two different philosophies, them going back and forth, fighting the Hand or whatever. Nice little short story, maybe another one that I wish was a little bit longer, but I thought that these is a great pair. Seeing Green Arrow and Daredevil kind of working together, that was a pretty good highlight for me. The Rocket Raccoon Green Lantern story, I mean, it's really just over. And then the Frank Miller story here, not the biggest fan of, like the Batman Returns and the Old Man Logan. That one kind of just ended there. And then you get like a cute little, maybe a tease to the future with logo on the back. So all in all, this one is a very mixed bag for me. The initial, you know, cover story, wasn't a big fan of. I like the Captain America and the Wonder Woman story. And then I like the Green Arrow and the Daredevil story as well. But yeah, if we're going to compare the two, definitely a bigger fan of the DC release. Just higher quality all around the board, longer stories, more to get invested into. And yeah, just more creators that I'm bigger fans of, right? So I thought that the DC kind of won the two out of these. And then, I mean, just talking about the rest of the community's sort of opinion and feeling on these, it looks like the Deadpool Batman release from Marvel, that got a 3.8 out of 5 with 5,600 reviews. So a little bit lower than the Batman and Deadpool release. It looks like that one's sitting at 4.1 out of 5 stars with 2,700 reviews. So the community seems to vibe and sort of agree with me, thinking that the DC release was a little bit better in quality. And so I guess going forward, right, do we want to see DC and Marvel try this out? Did the experiment kind of fail, or did it succeed? I thought it succeeded, man. Just overall, getting people into the comic book stores, getting invested in DC and Marvel, it's never a bad thing. I'd like to see them kind of do this experiment more, and it seems like they are next year with, like I was saying earlier, the Superman and Spider-Man release. So we'll have to see if maybe they can, fix some of the mistakes maybe that these ones kind of made. I'd like to see like longer stories, right? Like you don't have to have so many stories if the stories themselves are a little bit longer and a bit more quality just in general, right? So yeah, we'll have to see how they kind of deal with it next year. Those ones might truly just be one-shots, focusing on just Superman and Spider-Man. And that would be kind of a shame. I do want to see them, mixing up and doing more crossovers with all sorts of characters. Like, when this experiment or was kind of in rumor stage and before it was officially announced, a lot of people had great ideas for crossovers. And yeah, so it would be a shame if they only did a Superman and Spider-Man and didn't do any other crossovers with any other characters. But yeah, those are kind of my overall thoughts on this DC and Marvel crossover, the Batman, the Deadpool. I thought it worked overall, and I think that DC definitely had the better output, although it's a little bit slightly more expensive. But yeah, I thought they had the better release. But that's what we got. Which one did you like a little bit more? The Marvel release, Deadpool, Batman, or were you jiving on the Batman and Deadpool release a little bit more? And we didn't even get to all the variant covers here. My shop doesn't have too many variant covers as an option for me, like when I go to the comic book store. So I didn't get into the variants. That might be an interesting idea to compare the variants at some point, but yeah, those are my overall thoughts on the Deadpool Batman releases from Marvel and DC. Let me know what you guys are thinking, and I'll read more comics.